Okay, so for Aries, the advice for Pisces season is to step back and take a break. Like, we see that you've been working like so hard to prove yourself, but at the same time, think about like, is it actually worth it? Like, take a step back, give yourself space to rejuvenate yourself, and consider like, is what you're fighting for, like so hard to prove, actually worth like the toll that it's taking on like your own personal well-being. And just to take a step back from like all of the chaos and basically like your expectation of having to, like the expectation that you're holding to having to like perform and like do the things that like you're basically like forcing yourself to do. Okay, so for Tauruses, the advice is to basically to step into your own power and understand like the power of your own like intention. Basically stop doubting yourself, because you have all of the materials that you need in order to like manifest what it is that you like desire and like what you need. So for Geminis, the advice for Pisces season is to get into working towards like that goal that you have, and understand that like you do have what it takes. You literally just need to work at it. Like, practice makes perfect. You can't just like expect yourself to know everything and like have all of the skill without actually like putting in the work towards that. And just like have faith in yourself and like be patient and nurture yourself throughout the process, because at the end of the day, like, you need a lot of patience and practice to like perfect or like reach a goal. So just give yourself space to do the work, and also like have compassion for yourself, like even when you're fucking up, or when you think you are, because it's literally just a part of the process. So for Cancers, the advice for Pisces season is basically to step out of your comfort zone. Like, we understand that, you know, you've worked so hard to be here, and you know, like, you reach that goal and like, okay, like everything is cool and you're chilling, but at the same time, staying like where you're comfortable doesn't really allow for growth. So try to look at the situation differently and understand that like, yeah, like you've reached like such a big milestone and you've like done what you need to do, but you know, the game doesn't stop there. So you need to kind of like get ready to like move up. Like, just be optimistic about where it is that you're going. Don't allow like your comfort to cloud your abilities to like move forward. Leos, we see that you're going through it right now and like you're kind of like at rock bottom, but then at the same time, it's kind of about like what you do in that space. Like, at the end of the day, like there's nowhere you can go except up from here. So in this space, like, despite that you're like feeling like shitty, and of course like acknowledge like all of that, like allow yourself to process those feelings and just like process where you're at and the changes that are like happening, and at the same time kind of like use your space and just like your own individual, like, set aside time to reflect on like what it is that's like what's changing and what it is like where you want to move forward from there, and really just consider like basically where you're being guided to. So, you know, if that means that you need to sit and like sit alone and like be intentional about like, you know, journaling or just like understanding and processing your feelings, then you need to like really just kind of put in the work in order to like get out of the rut, because you're not gonna like pull yourself out like by doing nothing. So you kind of need to like reflect on like what worked, what didn't work, and like move forward from there. Okay, so for Virgos, the advice is to basically like, we see that the energy, like there's too much energy around you, like you're feeling overwhelmed about the energy that is going on. Like, there's too much to process. Shit is moving too fast. So your advice is to kind of like sit and like assess on what it is that you want to do. You know, like take a time out. You know, like, nobody's asking you, like, you don't need to be like trying to jump in on the wagon because it's already moving too fast. So just take a seat and, you know, consider where you want to move, and just like, you know, basically just sit on it. Like, you don't have to decide right now, you know, just sit and like check out what is going on, because there's things that are like coming up and things that are just kind of like revealing themselves that you need to see, but then at the same time it's not meant for you to be like acting upon just yet.
Libras, you guys have the World card in reverse, which tells me that you guys have loose ends that you need to tie up. But more specifically, there's a situation that's coming to an end. It's gonna end whether you want it to or not. So basically this is saying, if you want it to end in a way that feels most comfortable to you, take the initiative in tying up those loose ends and not just having it end in a way where you would feel uncomfortable, or like something more could have been done so that it ended better. Make sure you're taking the first step in ending that situation if you want it to end somewhat in your benefit, or more so in your liking. Scorpios, you all have the Seven of Swords in reverse, which is saying to me that basically you guys are getting to the place where you're feeling more comfortable opening up to somebody or sharing how you feel. You're getting more comfortable coming into that space where you feel like, oh, I can actually share these things with this person. Just make sure that when you finally take that step to share how you feel, that you have your thoughts in order. I see that it's very possible for your message to come out the wrong way. So just make sure that you plan what you say, not necessarily verbatim, but in a more thoughtful way that gets your point across while also not seeming like it is coming off in a attacking manner. So Sagittarius, you all have the Eight of Swords. I see that you guys have an opportunity, I want to say a job opportunity, to move to a different position or a higher position. You guys definitely see the potential in the new position. For some reason, you're trying not to pay too much attention to it, because I feel like you guys like where you are at currently. It's comfortable, it's familiar. You just seem like you're not quite ready to move on just yet. Really pay attention to what you're being offered in the new position, and do something like a pros and cons list to make sure that you're not turning away potentially like very beneficial start for you. Capricorn, you guys have the Ace of Swords in reverse. So what that's basically saying is that during Pisces season, you guys may feel like you're having a very hard time getting your ducks in a row. Essentially, your thoughts are very scattered and all over the place. You feel somewhat indecisive, and you feel like you just really don't know where to start. You don't have to fight every battle alone, essentially. Make sure that when you're in a space where you're feeling unsure and not knowing where to begin, that you reach out to someone, whether that's a friend or a loved one, and just ask for advice, because sometimes it's really that simple. So Aquarius, you guys got the Hanged One in reverse. I see that you guys have gotten to a place where you have started to look at things from a different perspective. More specifically, you weren't really feeling content or happy with where you were at in your life, but you finally come to the realization that things weren't as bad as they seemed. Like you changed your outlook you're able to see the silver lining in places where you weren't able to see it before. And so because it's taking you a while to get to this place, it seems like a very sacred way of thinking, because now you're finally at a place where you're like, okay, this is nice. I feel comfortable here. With that, I would say be careful of doing that to the point where you're missing out on looking at things realistically. There's a fine line between finding the silver lining in a situation and making up a silver lining in a situation. So be mindful of that. For Pisces, it may seem like everything is going wrong. There's just too much going on. You also can't really get your thoughts in order. Everything just seems a bit muddled. Even going deeper than that, I also see that you guys have been trying to manifest something, but more so from a place of lack. So because of that, you're more focused on, why haven't I gotten this thing yet? Why haven't I gotten this thing yet? That's occupying more of your thoughts than what you actually have going on around you. So your advice would be to focus less on the thing that you're trying to manifest, like focus less on not having this thing yet, and focus more on the things that you already do have, because focusing on what you don't have is really blocking your view for being grateful for the things that you do have, which is definitely a major blockage when you're manifesting things. So for Pisces, practice mindfulness and gratefulness. So that's all the messages that we have for you guys. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And let us know if there's any other videos you would like to see from us. Thanks, bye.